everyone. Welcome to LexTalk World Talk Show presented by Clickaway Creators. Today we have Mansi Sinha, who is a practicing attorney in India. She is working as a retained litigation lawyer, also the associate partner at UCOL. She is actively involved in many pro bono cases and public interest litigations on a number of social issues such as cross-border child abductions, custodial battle of warring parents in family litigations, safety of women, children, and elderly in public transport, safety of women litigants. She's also an author of two published papers, Rights of the Just Born and the Unborn, and Survival Africa Against the Sea Goons. Wow, that's wonderful. So without any ado, let me introduce you to Mansi. Hello, Mansi. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for a wonderful introduction. I'm really glad to be a part of this platform and hope and wish you guys all the very best for this.
Pleasure is all ours, Mansi, to have you. I read a lot about you, so I just thought to pick up some good points. And I guess now it's a good time for our viewers to understand about your profile in your own words. Although I've explained, as I said, a lot of things about you from your profile. But now I would request you to brief us about your journey as a legal professional so far.
Thank you. I'll do so. I am an attorney practicing in India. I am a retained lawyer as well as an associate partner at UCOL. It's a pan-India all-service law firm. I am engaged as a legal and risk compliance consultant with IndiaBound, which is a GRC firm. My journey actually started way back in 2011 when I entered college, which is in Bombay, which is Government Law College, as well as a very wise quote from somebody I had worked with many years back. I was told by this individual who is a distinguished lawyer that there is a need for lawyers to be ethically and morally straight. This has stuck with me since a very long time. And over the short span of my career, I have had the privilege of working with a variety of fascinating minds. And they've mentored me throughout. Even today, it continues. I have many mentors. I have learned plenty from them. Specifically, I would say how to nurture and care for an organic business, importance of working in constraints, which has proven to be the most beneficial insight, especially during COVID-19. It has really helped me push certain boundaries at work during the pandemic. Over the years, I have been working with two different kinds of organizations, which is one is a law firm, that is UCOL, and second is a GRC firm, which is IndiaBound. It has really allowed me to explore litigation and corporate law as well as GRC simultaneously. In the last few years, I have established a strong base in white collar cases such as money laundering, corruption, and other such cases where extensive forensic audits are the key and the prime goal out of those litigations. These days, I'm also working closely with people who are developing technological solutions for many of the GRC issues, as well as this dispute resolution. More so, there have been an interest on pre and post dispute, as well as pre and post litigation risk mitigation and management over the years. And technology has been taking a large stake in it. We are very hopeful in developing such legal technological solutions which can benefit the public at large. So for now, this is what I am doing and hoping to expand my base in the legal and tech world, which will have an impact on the capital markets, etc. And other organizations as well, which will make their lives easier for the risk and compliance teams.
That's really wonderful. That's really wonderful. That's a good journey that you just guided us through. And I believe you've got great mentors to guide you through the right way. I mean, not everyone, get a chance to meet such individuals. And you also mentioned about legal tech. So yes, I also agree with this fact that legal tech is the new era of legal space. Uh,
Ab-
it's majorly, I believe, growing like anything in Brazil. I mean, in South America, and then also in Nigeria, surprisingly, in just Nigeria in North Africa. So that's a great thing. And many of the women entrepreneurs in legal space, women are interested in legal space, and they are just, I mean, the law tech space, and they are building so great applications and, the works to be done. That's really wonderful. All right. So on the go, I guess now we should also ask you about, some good memories that you have about your cases. So tell us about your most memorable white collar case and what are your key takeaways from there?
Uh, Luckily, I've had the fortune of working on some very important cases, both on the litigation as well as corporate sides, since I've been working with two firms simultaneously. I do get a variety in these. I would say that one of the most memorable case had been a litigation arising out of a fraud committed by a large infrastructure company operating out of India. This company had slyly siphoned off over $100 million from its special purpose vehicle, which it had created, and it had basically diverted the funds into various legal entities in India and overseas. We did get a kick out of it, specifically when the court displayed such shock upon seeing the analysis of the financial data that we had presented in a meticulously drafted petition, which was for curtailing money laundering of public monies, and specifically of the investors in such companies where basic structures are built on just investments from large companies and individual investors. It actually opened up a Pandora's box for such real estate and infrastructure companies and the frauds which were surrounding such architecture.
That's right. Even when I was reading about the startups that are booming now, not even booming, we have so many startups coming around, and the first in the rank, of course, is the States. Uh, Maximum time, it's just the rolling. It's about rolling the ball to investors, to investors, to investors. So it's just this game that's going on, and when it collapses, the company shuts down. So that has happened with so many startups. I'm not sure about the data, but I guess it's more than the number of startups shutting down versus the opening all over the globe. So there's some conspiracy going on out there, and that's a really great case that you discussed about. All right, so now you know on the go, I should also ask you, how do you look at legal risk and compliance in 2021, and how it's going to change 5 years down the line?
So the ongoing pandemic has really shown us that firms can change and adapt with speed when necessary. We have seen organizations making rapid action plans and business continuity plans after the pandemic had set in. It was commendable, of course, but at the same time, the hurried methodology adopted for such creation, it could have been avoided. Specifically in the legal sphere, after at least 2 months of an absolute and complete shutdown, things started to move only after some lockdowns were lifted by the government. Only companies benefiting from this were the IT companies who had shifted to cloud-based working system long back. In fact, many publishing houses had also prepared for digital transformation, and they actually suffered minimal loss. It you can say that it was only out of dire need that the court system, the legal system, we all shifted to the technological platforms. It's basically due to the lack of better business continuity planning. And now it is strongly felt that we are all increasingly raising our expectations for a technology-driven compliance management in the near future. Geopolitics will also play into the supply chain, as we've all seen. COVID has exposed points of vulnerability, and in companies, some sectors can expect pressure from governments and other stakeholders to bring digitized maximum processes for supply chain operations. The interconnectedness of the global system has been seen as has been seen by organizations that there is a need for them to adapt to it. They will be considering new clients, new suppliers and clients which will be closer to the home. And of course, this will also entail different kinds of risks which will be new to the organizations altogether. This will also bring up a gravity of work on the legal and compliance team, where they'll have to prudently prioritize and weigh risk based on cost factors so that they ensure what kind of balance is needed in their organizations. And specifically, right now, when most of the organizations in India are considering their strategies for going back to work, it has happened in most of the government sectors, but for other companies, it's still under process. And by December 2021, most probably, most companies in India will be shifting their base back to work. So companies who will be positively resilient in these coming years will be the ones who have restructured their business models and governance strategies, keeping COVID and such other situations, the geopolitical climate and digital movement metamorphosis in mind while planning for these things.
No, exactly. Even when COVID struck, we were not expecting anything. I mean, now we have a whole lot of great story to tell our kids, and I'm 100% sure that they won't believe it that you were in home for 2 months. I mean, more than 2 months, wearing a different color of mask and all these sort of things. It would be great fun. It's a great story that we have, and we all are survivors. By the way, congratulations on that. We all are survivors. We survived the great pandemic. I hope we will now also. It's still ongoing. And when you mentioned about the technology aspect, if it's not the business that's taking up, as the responsibility, I guess it's time for investors to, pull in to the process, and it should be a sort of a criteria, because now you never know if this can happen today. It can happen after, down the line after 20 years also. You never know what's happening. Yeah, exactly. All right. So I guess now we have a interconnecting question on this. In light of the previous discussion, do you think that white collar cases shall be impacted by the technology innovations?
So see, regulators and legislators, they've reiterated their expectations that companies should digitize basic compliance monitoring, also to leverage analytics to reinforce and evolve the program. Digital accelerations have enabled companies to bridge the gap, and it has also enabled the GRC auditor teams to analyze complex internal investigations data quickly and come to a conclusion about the loopholes and to plug it. Effectively plugging it means to be working at a high speed, right? So I think even during COVID, many of us legal auditors, we've conducted our audits virtually, even during the peak of COVID, thanks to whatever technological outputs we had. So since we have put a lot of weight on virtual business modes, it's again got its own risks. And for example, record keeping and maintenance of data on cloud, it's been important, and it's still a little risk is involved, specifically if companies keeping certain sensitive market data online, and trade secrets. That's where the hacking and what other things that can happen to the losing a data source and all can lead to high risk for companies. And internal policies have to be now developed in such a manner that they encapsulate measures to anticipate such risks and to effectively mitigate it. This is also one of the reasons why many of the companies, many of the sectors, they are exploring the blockchain technology, because it actually prevents tampering of any document. However, we do not have any regulations for blockchains, and even for storage of data in various silos spread across the world. We need a unified code for that then. And the companies and the World Bank, all these organizations and institutes, they'll have to take a step, and they'll have to come up with certain guidelines and methods of preventing such leakages. So definitely we are in a need of regulatory structures, because although India has been quite progressive, over the years we've had a few regulations which since 2011 we've had a regulation which prevents leakages of sensitive personal data. However, it was hardly enforced, and it was mostly found that during audits that we found that this data has not been this law has not been enforced so well in Indian companies. Even our sectorization law, it's been very, very progressive since 1992, but still we've had loopholes such as the Sahara case and the Karvi case, the recent one, and many other brokering cases. So need is there, but effective implementation is also one of the things that we need to focus on. And we are seeing that how the legal and compliance team is now playing a heavy role in the day-to-day operations, because as we are growing towards taking our steps towards technology, we have to understand and respond to what drives human behavior, which is more of a challenge than usual, when for many that behavior is masked by remote computer screens now, as people continue to work from home.
That's actually right. And when you were mentioning about the cons of the process, I mean, if we shift to clouds, even data saving or data protection or anything like that, it's not that active in India. I believe that's why we really had several apps with us, which thankfully this current government banned. That's pretty much needed. Everyone knows about TikTok and of course
Yes.
PUBG. Yeah, we know what happened and what was happening around right there with that thing. So yes, that's very rightly said. And if we have to build a new code, then I guess we will have more cases. We already have great cases in our courts. So I guess we should find a midway, a gray area for everything. All right, wonderful. It was a great chat. Any ending comments that you want to give on this?
I think we should all move ahead and not move backwards when digital transformation is at hand, is at the core. And for example, we are seeing it in courts. The litigators are seeing it in courts that we are now going back to courts and not moving ahead and actually having a entire setup which is, and a platform which is fully digital, and you can litigate from any part of the country or any part of the world, which could be quite easy for the litigants as well, because they most of them cannot afford a lot of things which we take for granted. So it can be easier for a person sitting in Tamil Nadu to attend a court hearing in the Supreme Court, Delhi, without even moving and traveling from 7 states across. So I think if this is the progress, and our restricted mindset has to be, it has to be molded to adapt to change.
Exactly. Some people don't like change. However, it's the only constant thing. I mean, change is the only constant thing. That's how you say it.
Exactly.
Wonderful. That's a great ending comment. And from my end, I would say that I've been working with legal industry since quite long now. So what I learned is, and it's also from a Bollywood movie, which it says a pretty great line, and it quotes that it's not the business of justice; it's the business of law. So one has to
Oh,
understand that. It's a great line. I mean, yes, yeah, we should
right.
compliment on this. Wonderful. All right, I guess we will get more likes on this video now. So thank you so much for sharing such great insights with us. And of course, we look forward to having a great chat with you again in the future on some other trending topics in the international legal industry. And for
Thank
our
you for
viewers,
having me.
pleasure is all mine, always. And for our viewers, if you like this chat with Mansi, please like and share this video, and also subscribe to ClickAway Creators YouTube channel to appreciate what we do. And you have more coming from industry leaders. This is Sagar for Let's Talk World, signing off.